right, Ron's got the thriller groove going on for the spirit of Halloween. We love it. All right, so Ron, we literally had 30 seconds to chat upon my arrival back from the great state, Florida, which
from
I just
space
got
looks
back
like
from.
a certain part. Never mind. I won't say
it. Hold on 1 second. I am going to double check something.
So while Brian's gone and I have your attention, I'd like to take a moment of your time to talk to you about candy corn. Candy corn is an all-American favorite. Candy corn has been much maligned, but candy corn deserves your love and respect. So have a little candy corn. Oh, damn it. Brian's back. Hi.
Candy corn is one of my favorites. Legit.
Thank
100%.
you.
I will.
Thank you.
And I am the guy that eats the little white piece off, then the little orange piece, then enjoys the sugary yellow deliciousness.
Yeah, it's like the Oreo ritual. There's so many different ways to eat an Oreo cookie, you know? So yeah,
that is true.
I'm with you, man.
Good evening, Frank. Welcome.
Frank.
Welcome to all of you that are tuning in tonight for our unadvertised incredible conversation.
You know the great thing about being Frank is you never know when he's being serious because he can look at you and go, you know what? I'd like to be frank with you. But you don't know because it's Frank. So
that is true. Frank with you. Frank, true story. You can ask my daughter about this. People ask me how I spell Brian, and I always say Friank, and they look at me and that says Frank, and I said no, it's pronounced Brian, and I just do it totally to mess with people, but the reactions are hilarious. Just due to the fact that the I or Y question just gets incredibly monotonous with Brian. Is that with an I or with a Y? So I just tell people I spell it Frank and pronounce it Brian. So, Frank, you could technically, all this time I've been calling you Frank, it may be Brian.
And it may be Brian spelled Brain.
Yes. Brain, which I got from numerous teachers as a child, which I always found entertaining that these were teachers writing brain on my report card. Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional or by accident. Given where I am today, I'm going to say it was probably by accident. But anyway, I love the t-shirt tonight, the Miyagi-Do Karate. I like it. Established in 84, Ralph Macchio special. So we are very impressed with that. Guys, wanted to touch on a couple things this week in regards to theme park news that Tina and I just spent the weekend, for those of you that don't know, down in Orlando at Universal. We stayed at the Endless Summer Resort Surfside version on Friday night, and then completed our stay at Sapphire Falls, which can't say enough about how great that resort was on Universal property. Had the water taxi, did not come with the express pass because it is not a deluxe resort. But aside from the fact that they don't consider it a deluxe resort, to me, it offered all the amenities with a lower price point. And I was thrilled. The pool is amazing, on par. Honestly, I thought it was even on par with Hard Rock's pool. Maybe even better in some ways with the sand.
I don't know if we ever talked about this, but back when they were just Portofino, Hard Rock, and Royal Pacific was not considered a premium resort. And I thought it held its own against the other two. I mean, really well. Beautifully laid out, architecturally. I always think it's interesting how they create those designations, because sometimes at Disney you can sort of feel, is this a value resort? Is this not a value resort? So I think it's
Yeah,
interesting
and
that you said that.
yeah, and I agree that Disney has a lot of properties that I feel we personally have always really enjoyed Port Orleans Riverside, and for the grounds and for the way the layout is and the boat service to Disney Springs and everything else. And I really enjoyed it. But the rooms themselves are a little dated. And there's certain resorts when Pop first got redone, I felt Pop Century offered more than a lot of the moderate resorts.
Hmm.
Frank, funny story. We don't do pools either, in all honesty. We go down and check them out, walk around. I do my evaluation as a travel agent, thinking, okay, if my client is a pool person, is this the type of pool they're going to enjoy? But Tegan swims on rare occasion. I couldn't tell you the last, maybe 5 years ago was the last time I personally jumped in the pool. But we have done numerous resorts, and we do enjoy the water parks. So we do go utilize time and space there. But one of the things that we unexpectedly did that I'm kind of excited to talk about is, and you might have just caught a little glimpse of it when he came up as I sipped my hot chocolate tonight, not coffee tonight.
Wow,
I
hot
need to.
chocolate.
I have to sleep tonight. I need some sleep. So Junior Mint hot chocolate is in the cup tonight.
Oh, really? Where'd you get that?
I get it on Amazon because I can't find it in any stores.
Junior Mint hot
Junior
chocolate.
Mint hot chocolate, and it is magically delicious, just as it sounds.
Now, is that the one with or without Kahlua?
That is no alcohol. I don't drink. For those that don't know, I'm a boring
I
guy.
know.
Um,
No, you're not
but
boring.
we did Halloween Horror Nights, and let me tell you something. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and I know obviously plenty of people have because it's going on their 30 years of 30 Fears or celebrating
Wow.
amazing
That was your
stuff.
first time to Halloween Horror Night.
It was my first horror
Oh
night.
my. Okay, I know, Frank. I know that you would love for us. We'll throw in a Disney bone here and there, but really, we need to hear all about your first experience.
So first I have to add that my daughter was very skeptical of horror nights. She has never seen a horror movie. She does not like to be startled, scared, or surprised. Um, and the only reason she had any interest in even going was because there is a Beetlejuice house, and she has seen the production of Beetlejuice on YouTube for theater versions. And then finally, uh, after seeing the musical, she wanted to see the movie, which we watched. She got some kicks out of, but she really wanted to go to the Beetlejuice. Oh, excuse me. I think
But
I'm allergic to work. But the she wanted to go to the Beetlejuice house to experience it firsthand. Now,
and
here's where it got kind of interesting. Um, we, as pass holders, are allowed a free horror night with our premier pass. Problem being, the nights that they offer for free nights were not any nights that we could get to the park. So I decided, and this goes back to conversations we have had prior, to
yeah,
go to guest services and have a conversation. So I spoke to an amazing young lady named Ashley, who I made sure I gave a fist bump to, and her helper and associate Bodie at Guest Relations at Universal Studios. Um, we spoke. She went and got our manager, I believe his Mike was Michael, and the manager agreed that they would offer us a 50% discount to attend the evening.
that's
Wasn't
awesome.
Wasn't exactly what I was hoping for.
No.
Because we were on a very tight budget this trip. But
Right.
I decided for that money, I would spend the $130 and take Tegan to her first Horror Nights. Now, we didn't know if that $130 was going to net us 5 minutes or 5 hours. So we did the Stay and Scream, which for those of you that don't understand what that is, I want to explain that real quick because it's really imperative to your success in being able to do the houses. Ron, are you familiar with Stay and Scream?
I'm not.
Okay. Normally, the park is open to a certain time, which right now is 5 p.m. on
Right.
on on Horror Night evenings. Horror Nights itself, I don't believe it starts till 6:30, but they let guests in at 6. However, if you have a day park ticket and you are in the park, they have corrals and staging areas throughout the park for what's called the Stay and Scream option. Whereas you are already inside the park at 5 p.m. or prior to 5 p.m., you can go into one of these holding areas that they also refer to as the corrals. You can go into the corrals and line up for the house that you choose to attend first. And they have,
Oh,
I think there
wow.
were like 3 corral areas. We obviously made Beetlejuice our priority, so we staggered into the corral around 4:30ish, and then waited because it forms a line. And
2 hours.
we were probably a couple hundred people deep at 4:30, and we waited. But we were inside our first house prior to 6, and that's huge. And we got to do the what is it, the Haunting Hill or whatever it is, the show on Netflix, um, the Haunting on the House on the Hill or whatever it's called. I don't even know. I don't do much horror stuff either, to be honest. But we did Beetlejuice, got out, did the second house on the hill, and we knocked out both houses by 6:30. So by the time it was officially opening, we were done 2 houses at 6:30. They're open till 2 a.m. in October. We had been up and at parks since 6:30 a.m. Actually 6 a.m. we were up, and we had a long day. We made it until 2 a.m. Tegan closed down Hollywood Horror Nights. Our longest wait of the evening was a 110-minute wait to ride Rip Ride Rocket at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh,
We were told it is one of the 3 busiest horror nights other than Halloween because it falls over the holiday weekend. So it was
right.
jam packed Friday,
Right.
Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday was a little less busy than Saturday from what they said, but houses all had, for the most part of the evening, over an hour wait. Most rides were between 35 minutes and an hour, but scare zones were very well done. We had never experienced anything like that. Um, Actors are obviously a little more standoffish this year with COVID, but some still were very active. There was a lot of fun. And Tegan successfully negotiated Beetlejuice. Uh,
Really?
she loved that one. The Hill House, she had her face buried in my sweatshirt. Um, and then by the time we did our third, fourth, and fifth houses, she was backing off and looking around and enjoying the startles a little bit
Right.
and
That's
started
awesome.
to have some fun. But for those of you that have never done a Halloween Horror Nights, I highly, highly recommend it. And I understand why people get that pass to go back over and over again.
Have you done Hallow Scream in Busch Gardens?
To
Wow.
be honest with you, we have only done the Disney Halloween party.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to also do Hollow Scream, and that's for anybody out there. Not in my personal humble opinion, I think they're both pretty stellar events. They truly are.
Someone said
In fact,
SeaWorld does
in
a good
fact,
one too.
they do. They do. Busch Gardens, I remember the first year that I went to their Hallow Scream. It was one of the few times I went through a haunted house and actually ran part of the way because they did a really good job of scaring the dickens out of you. They did a whole bunch of misdirection where you're walking down this pathway and you see someone at the end and they're just kind of doing this and staring at you and you're getting creeped out, but you're so fixated on them, not paying attention to the creatures on either side that are slowly creeping up on you. And when it happens, yeah.
It was funny. I was shooting some video as we were walking through one of the scare zones, and Tegan's, pointing and looking at stuff. And someone was walking up that she just thought was a regular person and, in silhouette, and turned out to be one of the scare actors. And they jumped right in her face. And I thought she was, she dropped an expletive suddenly
Uh
that
huh.
as a dad, I was like, wow, and she said that one legit got me. I thought that was a regular person until they jumped in my face. That just
Did
scared the crap out of me. It was
I
quite
know
funny.
they have them. I know they have them there. Did you get a chance to see the Chainsaw Brigade?
The which one?
Chainsaw Brigade. So
No,
they've done it. They've done it in years past, and I seem to recall reading about it happening this year. But literally, they'd have 12, 16, 20 people with chainsaws, and they'd march and they'd do this beautiful choreographed 45-second 1 minute routine, and then just as it looks like they're going to continue doing it, they rev their chainsaws because they're all real chainsaws. They rev their chainsaws and they break and just start chasing people. They scatter to the four winds and people run faster than you've ever seen them run before because they're like,
that's
oh look, it's like a parade. We're just gonna sit here and watch this, and then suddenly, and then they chase after people.
that's
It's a
awesome.
riot.
They
Yeah,
were
it is.
they were out there with the chainsaws. No, we didn't see any formations or anything.
Okay.
Um, One thing I thought was really cool that we didn't get to see because unfortunately it went down, but they have select rides open during the Horror Nights. And for this year, it's Simpsons was open, which wasn't announced. It's not on the flyers, but it was open the
Okay.
night we were there. I don't know if they just opened Simpsons because of the higher crowds, which is a possibility. So I can't
Yep.
because it wasn't in print, so I wasn't sure, and I forgot to ask my friend who goes every week if Simpsons is normally open. But the night we were there, Simpsons was open, Men in Black, Gringotts, The Mummy, and Rip Ride Rocket were the 5 rides that were open. And we did Men in Black, which we maxed out on, by the way, 999,000. Yeah, that was us maxing out. We Teen and I both did it. Watch YouTube, people. Watch YouTube. But we maxed out on our points. Had a great time in Men in Black, and then we did Rip Ride Rocket later, which I said was like an hour and 40 minutes. And Tegan and I, at this point, it was 1:30 in the morning. We were literally both falling asleep in line. And I said, Tegan, let's just go back to the room and go to bed. And she's like, I'm too stubborn now. I have to do it. And then, of course, we did it, and it gets the blood going because now you're doing
Yeah,
a,
it's like a shot.
you know,
It's like a shot of espresso.
exactly. So we get the shot of espresso. Then we go to the souvenir store to get our souvenirs, and the sweatshirt we want is not in the store. A very nice team member called around, found what we thought were 42 of them in the tribute store, which we ran over to find out they had none either. But Tegan decided, hey, oversized sweatshirts are a good thing for kids, so let me buy a bigger one. So she got one the next size up from what she originally wanted, and we're just going to try to shrink it down a little, because after all, it is 80% cotton. But
Did you guys ride? Did you ride the Mummy while you were there?
we rode the Mummy, but not during Horror Nights. We didn't ride during Horror Nights. We were just starting to run short on time, and we really decided that since we had never been, we wanted to wind up doing as many houses as we could. We got through half of them. Probably could have done a couple more had we chose not to do Rip Ride, especially late.
Right.
The lines were going down. We did do the Nightmare Fuel Show in the what was it? The Fear Factor Pavilion there, down in the back corner by Men in Black.
Yeah.
If you
Former
go,
Wild West venue.
yeah, in Tegan's words, it's strippers, flames, and rock. Like, it was a little much for a young teen. It not so like I didn't think it was too much for her, but I could see that's my daughter. I could see some people with kids her age being very uncomfortable during that show. It's very sexualized, very lingerie based.
It wasn't Disney.
Yeah, it was definitely not Disney. And I may or may not have worked with some of the people in that show. So I had to laugh. But Tegan really enjoyed it. There's a lot of phenomenal acrobat work, some magic, and a lot with flames and fire and pyrotechnics that was pretty cool. They do a great job with the show. I highly recommend it. Just be ready for a very racy show. But it was very, very good. Very well done.
I didn't know anything at all about the show. I figure it's a pretty small cast. Is it? How big was the cast for that show?
20, maybe 25.
Yeah.
It was there was some talent in there. I mean, they had
Oh, no doubt.
like unbelievable contortionist talent. They have some ribbon, I don't know if you're familiar with the ribbon swings and people working on them. They had a guy that was phenomenal on a ribbon swing. They had someone who did great pole work. They also had the pyro crew and the fire acts were very, very good. And I know you and I have talked about the fire juggler you had in Aloha, who was one of the best you had ever seen.
Yeah, the fire knives. Yep.
These guys were really good. And I mean, we did the water show on the lagoon. I would tell people it's a really cool show, but if you have an agenda of trying to get all the houses done, don't come out to see the lagoon show. It is neat. It's kind of fun, but it is not worthy of if you're, we were fine with killing some time on our first night. I didn't want Tegan's anxiety getting to the point where she was no longer going to enjoy herself. So taking those little breaks made a difference and definitely helped. But she thought it was cool, but kind of said the same thing. Could have done without it. Didn't really matter. But we really enjoyed. I would give it a solid, even with the plexiglass and the issues going on this year that make it a little different than what the normal years were. I personally would give it a solid 7 out of 10. Crowds were heavy, but that was also the night we went in on a holiday weekend. So
Yep.
it was really tough. But getting backstage to some of the warehouses and seeing some of the stuff was really, really cool too. That was neat. You know, seeing the train for Harry Potter go by,
Mm-hmm.
seeing
Yep.
how that worked. They were actually walking the track with the train while we were there. So somebody walked and the train followed them. And I kept yelling that, wow, that guy's so strong. What a workout. 1 a.m. and he's pulling the train down the tracks. And it was kind of funny. We got some good reactions and good laughter. We had a good time. It was a lot of fun, but I highly would recommend Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, it's funny we're talking about being able to see backstage. I know at the Magic Kingdom, especially during certain times of the year, the crowd dumps would be so huge. They would have to route them backstage back behind MO6, which when you're looking at the castle from the train station, that's on the right hand side. And someone had the great idea to you know bring Imagineering in, and they actually set designed this whole additional secondary queue for when they had to dump guests, and there just wasn't enough room on Main Street. They would open that up as well. Real beautiful the way they did it, but I think for
We were
Universal, it's just not justifiable.
we were at a Boo Bash, well, not Boo Bash, Mickey's Not So Scary, where they actually opened up not just like where they normally feed the guests into Boo Bash, but they actually opened it up behind that into
Hmm.
parking and everything else,
Yep.
where we had to go
Yep.
all the way around, and we came out over pretty much where the backside of Buzz Lightyear,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
way over there. So you came out basically into the stage and restroom area out there
Right.
by Carousel of Progress.
Yeah. You'd come out between where Carousel and Buzz is. That
Yep.
you'd be Buzz to your left as you're walking out.
Yeah, where they usually do like they used to have the meet and greets there for Buzz, and
Right.
during
Right.
during the parties they have the specialty characters out there.
Yeah. And that parking area back there that you walk through, it's typically salaried executives, uh, buses sometimes.
So it was
That's
the Ron.
interesting. How long ago? What's that?
That was 3 years ago, I think. I saw the
Yeah.
spot that said reserved for Ron Fox. I saw it. It was there. Your name in lights.
No comment.
But it was.
Although I have to tell you, it's a thing I'm not afraid to admit. When I was working on my associate's degree, I worked on the college newspaper, and I don't know why, but I was so fixated on this idea. When you'd go through Spaceship Earth, back the way it used to be, there was the boy hawking the newspapers. It's
Yeah.
like extra, extra, read all about it. And I managed one time finally to launch one of our papers and get it to land on the stack of papers that was there.
Whoop, you froze up. Are you still there? Are we still here?
Oh yeah, here we are.
Here we are. We're back.
Maybe. Yeah, that was fun. I want to. Maybe I should pay attention, and if the camera freezes, I won't be doing something like.
Hey, it never freezes when you want it to. The one thing
Sure.
I could tell you after living, um, yeah, Frank, they do it at the Christmas party too. The very, very true story. That is, we've done it during the Christmas party as well. It does help distribute the guests so much quicker to all aspects of the park. It's just whether or not they're okay with it, and
I
it's
think. I think honestly, another reason is that it works and that they may employ it is people that are coming in for that special ticketed event can come in one way, and then they can have cast members over there sort of moving them while they continue to do a soft close and sweep people out of the park who
hey
who
Janine.
won't be staying for that event.
from Australia. See, we're international now, Ron. We are international. We're breaking barriers down. We are so glad to have you on here, Janine, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
It's fun to sit and talk about experiences and share time with people and just try to help people understand why things happen in the parks. And we don't always know ourselves, but we do like to try to the goal of the podcast again and being here to talk with you guys is to get some feedback from you, but also to share our personal experiences just to let you know what to expect when you're there and try to make your time a little better and have a little understanding to why things are happening that may frustrate people if they didn't know not to get frustrated. Things you might miss that, we've gone enough times or been around enough that we feel is worthy of pointing something out. And we really enjoy sharing that with all of you. So all two of you. And but we do enjoy it.
You're saying our audience grew by 100%.
I'm awesome. Saying we just went international. I don't care.
That's
I don't
huge.
care if it's one viewer. We are international.
No,
this gives us brand new advertising fodder.
We have street cred. We have street cred right now.
Right. And when I finally get around to advertising for us, we'll have an international ad. Janine, would you do a I follow you guys from Australia post? Like we'll get a nice little video clip we can throw in in an ad for you.
Yes,
we do it. We're crazy like that. Something else I wanted to touch on that I know, Ron, you would appreciate this. We had the most amazing thing happen this weekend, which me saying that probably doesn't surprise Ron. However, we were on the Velocicoaster at Universal Studios, which Ron knows is my favorite ride and Tegan's favorite coaster. And it broke down. We were standing in line on Saturday night. The wait was about an hour and 20 minutes. It was like a 80, 90-minute wait. We were in line, and all of a sudden, we didn't see it as it happened, but right after, the car shot up, didn't make it over the top hat, and rolled back. So they had a rollback, which everybody started freaking out about. So when we got up, there was a group of about 6 of us in line together that were all talking and hanging out. And when we got our turn on the car, we all sat down. We started chanting roll back before we even left the station. We had the whole train going, roll back, roll back, roll back. And then they send us out of the station. And we're down to that first launch. And we go up and we take a picture and we're doing our stuff. And you come around, and those of you that have never ridden it, you go to a second launch on the Velocicoaster. At the second launch, the car screeches to a halt and the lights come on. And I'm like, we're going to get evac'd. This stinks. I'm like, this is not, it's neat to get evac'd, whatever. Lights come on, announcement comes on, says, basically one of those, what goes up must come down. Please stay seated and blah, 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 blah. Keep your arms, legs, and hands inside the vehicle at all times.
I just want to hear once an announcement say, and blah, 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 blah. I just want to hear that one.
I want to say it once. How fun would it be to do like one of those Ellen things where they're like, just say what I tell you. And someone's on an amusement ride and the ride stops. And you're like, hey guys, you haven't died yet. It's still safe right now. just stay on the car. And, like just totally freak people out. It would be absolutely mortifying. But anyway, we didn't even need that to be mortified because the lights came on. They make this little announcement and the car is creeping back very, very slowly. Very, very slowly. And then it locked and you could hear it like click to lock in place. And as we're talking to the friends we had made in front of us, we said, hey, we're going to get that extra launch they talk about. Right as we're talking about it, Velocicoaster launched us backwards. It was insane, Ron. It was insane. So
they didn't give you a warning or anything?
Nothing. Just all of a sudden it was like, back we go. So we go back around the corner, back up the track, and then it obviously rolled forward. And we come into the second launch, and I will tell you that the team members said that no matter when you launch there, it's only 70 miles an hour. There have been reports that people say if you get a second launch, it's more intense because you don't have the momentum rolling into the launch. So they have to increase the drive on the magnets to push the car over the top hat. What we found out through our experience is they reverse launch you so you have the momentum coming in. But I will tell you that second launch, that was my 42nd ride on that ride. That second launch was way more intense than any other ride I had ever been on. So I have no scientific proof. I do not speak for Universal or anyone else or Intimate, the company that makes the coasters. I don't speak for any of them. I don't know that it's fact. I don't know that it's fiction. But I will tell you, as a rider sitting on that coaster, if that ever happens to you, it feels like you see 80 or 90 miles an hour. It feels far more superior than that 70 mile an hour launch. And I have raced cars. I'm a bit of a speed guy. I know you've done your stunt work. You can feel a difference between 70 and 80. You can feel a difference between 70 and 90. And you're definitely going to know it. And I'm just telling you that for me, maybe it was the fact I was on pure goosebumped adrenaline at the time, but to me, it felt much faster through the second launch. When we talked to the team members after, though, what I found most fascinating is he said, what happened to you happens less than the rollbacks. It's actually the rarest occurrence that they have that doesn't result in evac.
An evac, yep.
So
Did you play the lottery? Did you play the lottery after that? Sounds like
no, I didn't, because I felt like I had already won. I was already a winner. We won. And then the next day, I can't even make this up. Tegan and I were actually having one of those incredibly intimate parenting moments where we were at each other's throats in line. So we were in the middle of a good, healthy argumente. And we got on Velocicoaster. We rode up front and we launched out the front of the coaster. And there was literally the most beautiful rainbow I have ever seen in Florida. Full rainbow, end to end, right over the pond as we launched out. And we both were just like, oh my God, let's forget everything we were just arguing about and admire this moment. And we had the best ride. We ran back around to grab our cameras. We got pictures of it. Amazing. So cool. And then to end the night, that same night, we were the last people to ride on Velocicoaster that night.
Cool. That's
cool. We had the whole train to ourselves. It was Tegan and I. And we're not screamers on roller coasters. So it was eerily quiet. You could hear the magnets when they accelerate. Like you could hear the acceleration from the magnet drive. You could hear every little nuance as the coaster, the squeaks in the wheels. It was just, it made the whole experience just so peaceful and serene while you're experiencing one of the most intense coasters in all of Florida. But we had the most amazing 90-second ride. As we were getting off, a gentleman came up from downstairs, and we were the last in line, but he had done a child swap. So his wife had ridden on the car before us, and she went down, and he came up for his turn, and they let him ride all by himself on a train.
How cool is that?
And when he
Was he
came,
in the front or back?
He rode the front. He did choose the front, and he had not ridden it, one, and that was his first ride on it. And when he came out, I asked him, I said, "Do you have the photo pass?" And he said, "No, I don't." And I said, "Well, I have it, and I think we should get your picture, and I'll text it to you." So I used my photo pass to get him that once in a lifetime picture. And the photo pass employee, kudos to them, because they zoomed out as far as they could, and it's very limited what they can do with those photos.
Right.
But he got six seats in the picture, so you could see all 6 empty seats with just this guy by himself. And he did the same thing for Tegan and I's picture, where it's just the two of us and with 6 seats or 4 empty ones.
That is so fun.
But that was our last ride of the night. It was our last ride of the trip, and we got to ride Velocicoaster by ourselves. It was epic. It was just totally amazing.
It sounds like it. I've never been. I'm going to have to. I've never been on that coaster.
Have you done Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So, and you've done Hagrid's?
I have not.
No.
I haven't been to the. Nope. I haven't been to the park since it opened. Since Hagrid's opened.
Okay. Well, we need to plan a time when 3 dads do some Hagrid's and do Velocicoaster, because I'll tell you right now, Hagrid's is a family coaster. So everyone that goes to Universal and goes to Islands of Adventure and wants to experience the Wizarding World, one, just the cult following of Harry Potter fans being so large globally, that ride has huge demand just for people that want to experience the character and the experience itself. But
has Janine, have you been on any of these rides or been to these parks? I'll just wait. I'll take your answer off the air.
I'm I'm curious to Hagrid's is a family-friendly coaster. It doesn't have an inversion. It's got a lot of moving parts that make it very difficult to keep it up without incidents throughout the day. So it is a ride that goes down a lot because there's so many facets to it operating. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. I think there's 3 track switches per ride. There's a lot of things that all have to coordinate at the same time for it to work effectively. Actually 4, I think, track switches. But there's so many moving parts to it. And I don't want to I know anybody can YouTube it, but I mean, I don't want to give it all away either.
Right.
But it's a family-friendly coaster. Velocicoaster is Hagrid's on steroids. I've only been to Universal California. Okay.
What happened? Nice.
She answered. I've only been to Universal California, but hoping to get to Florida when World open up.
Has she been to the Disney park there? I guess I could ask myself. I could also.
And she means world by the actual planet. currently, by the way, when the world opens up, not when Disney World opens up. So,
Right.
because I know Australia is one of the strictest countries in the world for lockdowns too. So I know I have friends that live there. So I know it's been a tough couple of years. So hearts go out to you guys, hoping that things do return to normal as soon as possible. So you guys can be able to travel again. We miss our international guests. We do. Very much so. But Velocicoaster, yeah, I've heard that it's the lockdowns are back. Velocicoaster is more of a coaster enthusiast coaster. So 6 out of 10 people might want to ride Velocicoaster, which is very beneficial to the lines because not everybody wants to ride it because it's too much for some people, you know? So Ron probably would ride once and then say, no, I don't want to do this again.
Why?
I'm just kidding. I think you would want to go.
I mean, I want to do Rise again. I want to go through the queue. I want to see all those stormtroopers. I I gotta tell you, you see, I totally just jumped tracks, didn't I? What we were talking about, and
Yeah, that was
I didn't mean
like
to.
I know Hagrid's has some track switches, but I didn't know they go that far across town. That was like straight to another zip code.
Real quick, and we're also we could do this also because we've got Janine and Frank especially, satisfy the Disney itch. Um, you see photos, you see videos of the stormtroopers standing there on the, I guess the observation deck with the window to space behind them. They're just all doing whatever they're doing, and it looks cool. But then you see it in real life, and it's like when I took an art class, and I remember you see these photos of art in the art book, and like, oh, that's, it's like Benjamin West, and then you go to the National Gallery of Art, and you're looking at a thing that's almost floor to ceiling. It's 30 feet tall. You're amazed, and for me, just seeing all the stormtroopers, watching them just moving around, looking around, that I honestly probably could have spent an hour in there just watching them. It was
See, that,
it was pretty incredible to me.
that room does impress me as well. And because you get to walk through it, they move you so fast because they want, obviously there's more people coming behind you. You want them all to experience the initial awe of the moment.
Yep.
Not with Joe Torres standing there with his camera in front of them. But I wish you had more time in that room. And the other place, there's another place, and I won't give it away, but you'll know where I'm talking about, that I wish I had more time too. Because of the scale to size that they built.
Whatever life size is, that's what they are.
Oh,
and you're right.
That's a room I want to run around in. That's a room I wish I could spend some legitimate time in, because I would love to see, and having done it a couple times, Ron, you can send Janine a face request, a friend request on Facebook. Facey space, spacey face.
Okay, I'll have to find her.
We'll work
you want me to
on
do it now.
No, she just mentioned it, so we'll work on it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Ron has to always get permission too. We've learned Ron gets permission for everything.
Okay, well, I'm asking you permission now, Brian. Can I?
Because you don't get permission from me.
No, you know what? Don't we have people can like our page, right?
Yeah, they can follow the page too. Yep.
What about Instagram?
we need to start posting on. We have Instagram, and we have. I don't even know what our Instagram handle is. I think it's at Three Dog Dads Talk One or something like that. I have them all
Okay.
written down somewhere. We're going to start. We're still trying to get our feel for this, and kind of find our groove, and then we're going to start
Right.
really pushing and advertising. We're trying to figure out what it is you guys want and what you guys need for us to be chatting about or
But
doing.
we can tell you what we want. We want you to be interactive. We want you to do what you're doing. Talk to us. Ask questions. We're talking about having some of our guests who show up, like Frank. We want to have him on for a segment or an entire episode. Yeah, but definitely throw questions at us. That's why we're here. I mean, besides it being just an excuse for us to talk to each other for an hour plus.
Yeah, exactly. But we do want to share information and stories and I know I'm kind of chatting up the majority of this episode for the fact that, we just got back from the trip. Um,
Wait, how was Boma? You had breakfast at Boma.
I was just going to go there actually too. We did go to Boma. Boma was amazing as usual. Christian, favorite server there. He was phenomenal. He took care of us. Love seeing that dude. He is just such a good guy. It was funny. There was a lady next to us who turned out to work for the company. She works in reservations. And it was kind of ironic because Tegan decided while we were there, she didn't want to go to Beaches and Cream for lunch, which shocked and devastated me. But this was Tegan's weekend.
Oh,
So
yep.
I let her make the choice. She would rather go back to Universal and do some rides rather than kill the time between breakfast and lunch for Beaches, which made sense,
Okay.
because it meant our only option was really to walk around Animal Kingdom Lodge or go to Disney Springs and go shopping, which she knew she couldn't really spend any money. So that's no fun when you have no money to spend. So she was like, let's go do rides instead. Anyway, long story short, lady next to us overhears me saying, I can't cancel this reservation. We're going to have to drive to Beaches and Cream because it's inside the 24-hour cancellation and it's going to cause a big to-do. She gets on her phone, contacts one of her reservation agent assistants, and wiped it out for us and was just the sweetest woman on the face of the planet. Got us taken care of. And it was just more magic of Disney. And we had just as much magic as Universal this past weekend, meeting people, getting to share new stories and new experiences and meeting up with friends and riding on rides together and doing stuff. It's really what makes me love either of those parks.
So I want to point out to everybody listening that these things happen more frequently to Brian than the average theme park guest. Not because he's magical. I mean, he is, but that's another episode. Um, it's because he's really got this leaning forward attitude. You've heard us talk about it plenty of times in other episodes. More bees with honey than vinegar, however you want to phrase it. You know, Brian never approaches a situation confrontationally, and it's a beautiful thing because of that. The people on the other side of the counter or wherever they are, man, they'll move planets for you when that's the case.
We met new people this weekend, and some people that I was friends with on Facebook that I'd never met in person, that I've chatted with or given advice to over the years for travel plans, or have asked me about things with Disney. And to meet people in person, it's always different. It's always it's got a little bit of that awkward moment sometimes, but once you kind of get past the awkward moment, because you feel like
You know what
someone
we need?
and you realize you really don't. But
Right.
But once you get past that, there's so many amazing people to engage with, and it doesn't take a lot. We gave. I said the story about the photo pass, and when you have people in line with you, for example, when we do, and I hear them say, I'm doing this for the first time. And then they run down, and there was a family that came down off Hagrid's, and the father was laughing because he saw the picture of them on the ride, and he was just going nuts. And I said, "Do you guys have the photo pass?" And the guy's like, "Nah." He's like, "But that's hilarious. I wish I could get that picture." I'm like, "I'll get it for you and I'll text it to you." And I ran through my phone this weekend, and there were probably 8 people I texted pictures to.
Isn't that fun?
And
I love it.
like and as far as PhotoPass go, they don't know that I don't know somebody. They think it's somebody in my party or anything else. So
Sure.
PhotoPass isn't going against any rules. It's just me trying to be kind.
Right.
And I want to clarify that too, because I don't want people thinking we're trying to scam a system or anything else. But I think it's a matter of, if someone gets a chance to get a picture, maybe it's just one picture there. I mean, I'm not following them around all day, but that guy that went home
Right.
from his one ride solo with Velocicoaster, he's got a picture of that we'll always remember. And Tegan and I had a couple moments where we talked about stuff this weekend that we were like, we won't have pictures of this because we didn't have our phone at a moment or something else, but we'll always have the memory. And, she was like, "Well, Dad, I don't always remember stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, well, you're 14. I'm pushing 50. I definitely don't remember stuff now. I'm trying to figure out why I walk into rooms at the end of the day."
Oh, yeah. That's the beautiful thing about a memory, though. Memories don't have edges. They don't have borders. You literally stitch everything together. The photograph is that thing right there. But all this talk and all of these amazing things that you experienced, just caused something to click in my head. Folks, we're gonna have Dad's Talk theme park cards. I don't know if we're gonna have bling to hand out, but we have to get some cards. We're gonna have cards like you hand out to cast members and team members, and you know,
You gotta
like like
so Ron,
like what
Ron,
like Walt Disney. Walt Disney
Ron,
used to do that.
that's a great concept. However, I know for a fact that the company frowns highly on that because
On what?
when on any
Oh,
name being on a card, because when we started, we gave out cards that said Tegan's Treasures on them. And the reason I did that is the same thing we were just talking about a little bit with Janine, that just for security and comfort, and no offense meant Janine at all. But for security and comfort, some people don't know who people are and they get friend requests. And it may be,
right.
we have children, we have small children. We don't necessarily want to expose our kids to the world. And I'm very open with that because Tegan has expressed she doesn't care to me about that. If it made my daughter uncomfortable to share things, I would pull back greatly on what I shared publicly. But
Sure.
so that's tricky. So as a child, we're a little more reserved. So when we started the thank you cards, rather than putting our real names down, we put at Tegan's Treasures, because you could find Tegan's Treasures on Facebook and shoot us a message. But one time when we went through security told me there's no soliciting allowed on any merchandise or anything you bring in to give cast members has to be soliciting free. Like you can't have anything on it. And we started at the thank you card connection with no intent to sell anything, no intent to do anything, no intent to raise money, nothing. It is nothing but a place to unify the opportunity for people to say thank you or show appreciation. And security has even got in my face about that. But I've pulled up the page in front of them and showed them what it says, and they've okayed it. But there is no soliciting allowed. So sadly, Ron, we would probably have to do that out in neighborhoods instead of at Disney or
Well, I don't know if we had a card that said I'm at the dad's and it's a picture of us. That's we're not advertising or soliciting anything.
yeah, that's true too. We could be creative. We're
Yes,
creative guys.
yes,
We could do it.
yes,
I
we
believe
are.
I believe we could do it. So I do think, at some point we obviously are going to start to try to market this more and get people more actively involved. Maybe we do have a weekend with the dads type thing where we plan a trip and invite people to come down and meet us and hang
Yes,
out. And we can
yes,
all go do
yes,
Velocicoaster together and try to get a roll back.
yes. We can get mugs and drink Junior Mint coffee, hot chocolate.
No coffee, just hot chocolate. I need to sleep tonight. I am literally at that delirious level of sleep. We've talked about it before. We don't go soft when we go to the parks. Now,
Right.
the saving grace in that is that parks right now are closing at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So we are back earlier than normal. But Saturday night, we left Saturday morning, we left the hotel at 6:30 a.m. to go to Boma for a 7:30 reservation. We were done breakfast by like 9 and we headed back to Universal. And we stayed all day at Universal. And then that night we had a 9:45 dinner reservation at Pat O'Brien's, and we stayed there till like 11:30. So by the time we got back to the hotel
Pat
the first
O'Brien.
night, it was midnight. And then on Sunday, we were up at 6:30, and we didn't get back to our room till a little after 3 a.m. And that was Sunday. So that was a 21-hour day, 22-hour day. And then the next morning, I said, Tegan, we could sleep in. She goes, hell no, it's our last day. Wake me up at 6:45. So we got in at like 3:20 was when we got back to the room. So she got to bed about 3:45 maybe by the time she was all set. We got up at 6:45. The kids slept 3 hours. I mean, she was junk the next day. That's why we kind of had our little snipperoo, but it was two overtired people, and snipperoo happens. But we went until the park closed on, Monday night, and that was an 8 p.m. close. And then we drove over to Disney and went to Beaches and Cream for a 10:15 dinner reservation. So when that was done and we had our dessert, we didn't get back till midnight. Then we got up at 6 o'clock to drive to Jacksonville this morning, caught our flight, which ironically, I'm walking through the Jacksonville airport. I come out of the men's room, and who do I see? My boss from home. The gentleman that owns the club I work at, coming in with his family.
That's bizarre.
So coming in with his family, gets on the plane, sit in the row behind us. Literally, he sat directly behind me on the flight home. So the fact I called out of work this weekend really came back and bit me square in the ass.
Oh man,
I did not call out of work, but that's a true
awesome.
story. I was shocked. So we flew home with my boss behind us with his kids. It was awesome. They were down in hanging out somewhere for the weekend. I guess they have family down there. So kind of neat though, because we've never flown out of Jacksonville before. That was a first. And I will say, nice little airport. The drive kind of sucks. It's tough. It's 2.5 on a good day. We had a bad day Friday night upon our arrival. Took us almost 4 hours. but on a good day, it's about 2.5. You can save some significant money flying into area airports in Florida. So if you ever feel as though Orlando is too high, best advice I can give you is, especially if you're going to rent a car anyway, check surrounding airports. Check Tampa,
Sanford, and Orlando is also a good option.
Sanford,
I think, yeah,
PBI's
the
even
budget carriers fly out of there. Yeah, the budget carriers fly out of all those smaller. They're all international airports. They're not regional, so they're big enough to handle
But even the bigger airlines, I mean, we fly JetBlue pretty much everywhere, and JetBlue can be anywhere from $50 to $200 or $300 cheaper per ticket to fly into some of these surrounding airports. Like I got Lauderdale for $49 each way. That's $100 round trip flight. You got a 3-hour drive, but if I'm paying $600 to fly into Orlando for the same dates,
sure,
I'll drive 3 hours. Like I got no problem.
For $500, yeah.
Even with $4 a gallon gas, I'm only going to spend $400. I make $100.
That's money in your pocket.
All right, guys, we are going to wrap for tonight. Ron, do you have any parting words you'd like to share?
Howdy, folks. Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times. Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
We have determined that is no longer the wildest ride, because when Velocicoaster goes backwards, that is some crazy stuff right there.
Yeah, but that's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
That's true.
Maybe Velocicoaster is the wildest ride in like the urban metropolitan area.
But is it? I think it's the wildest ride in the Cretaceous period. Wouldn't it be?
No, wilderness.
No, Velocicoaster.
I guess, but it doesn't take you through a whole bunch of dinosaurs, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes you through other stuff too.
No, it takes you through 5 raptors.
Like, are we talking like Icy, M&M? I mean, those raptors.
Not rappers.
Oh,
raptors. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Like, I'm just saying. We're delirious. This is what happened.
Yeah, but thank you as always for tuning in, jumping on, and being a part of our silliness. Appreciate you.
It is, and we do. And very much looking forward to getting things going. Frank, message Ron your email. If you're still on, message Ron your email. So within the next couple weeks, we're going to set you up with an invite and get you onto a show to join us. So
yes,
iron your Sunday best, like I did today.
Yes,
like the airport hoodie. I got nothing on Miyagi-Do karate, but I've got the I Love You 3000 dad sweatshirt that my daughter got me while she still likes me. Yeah. You know, she's 14. Like, you get the gifts. There's the love days and there's the not so love days. But we are home now, so it's back to reality. What is it? Oops, back to reality. Oops, there goes gravity. Whatever. You were quoting Eminem a minute ago.
Yep.
All right. I am out. Ron is out. We will see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye.
Everybody have great.
Go ahead. Try again. Everybody have a great. Ron's not really frozen. He's faking. Fool me once, shame
We love you,
on
people.
me. Fool me twice. No.
Whatever. All right. We love you guys.
We good?